California just made deposits and paperwork a sport now, starting January 1st, 2026.
There are new rules for landlords in 2026.
New laws will now require a stove and refrigerator in homes.
And we've seen the housing market get tougher and tougher and tougher.
I've had a tenant in this property for the last 6 months and they finally have decided to move out. They're asking me and been blowing me up, Jesse, when the heck am I gonna get my deposit back? Photos before, photos after somebody moves out, itemized checklist of everything that is wrong with the property, 21 days to pay the deposit back with an itemized list for the tenants. So I'm gonna show you today how we actually do a move in and move out. I'm gonna talk to you about these guests that we've actually had in this property and their deposits and all the other stuff and how I actually made a little bit more money, like 2x long-term rental rates by renting to construction companies. I had a construction company stay at this property for the last 6 months and they've been here because they're actually working on assignment nearby in Lathrop, California. This home is actually in Lodi. They ended up paying me $7,500 a month to stay here for the last 6 months. And they just moved out of this house today. So you're gonna actually see this property today. No cleaners have been here. Nobody's walked through anything. Nobody's looked at anything yet. Nobody's paid attention to jack squat in this house yet. I'm the first human that's been in here since they moved out. So I'm gonna show you what it looks like to have a property after you have construction dudes that are here, after they leave, and all the other good stuff that comes along with that. So let me give you the backstory of how I actually picked these clients up. They ended up actually staying at one of my Airbnb properties that I have. They were there for 3 days and I asked questions like, hey, what are you doing on assignment? What are you doing in this market? They told me that there are construction workers here for 3 days as they were looking for other properties. Light bulb, that's exactly how you start to build relationships with these companies and these people. You start to literally find out what they do, why they're here, and I just looked in the phone book. Does anybody even use the phone book? Like, I literally looked up on Google and ChatGPT this company's name, looked them up, called them and just said, hey, you guys are looking for housing. I have some of your folks that are staying at my property right now. Are you guys interested in staying in a property that's nearby? And you guys can book directly with me. That's how I literally landed these people, by asking questions of Airbnb guests. They literally then stayed 3 days later at this property. They've been here for 6 months and they're moving out today. So there were 7 people here, 7 adults, no pets, nothing like that, which is pretty freaking awesome. They were paying $7,500 a month, which is almost 3 times long-term rental rate for a place like this in Lodi. They had a deposit of $2,000, which I don't ask for a lot of money in deposits. I usually use Wavo on the back end to make sure that if somebody does screw this house up, Wavo is a protection company that actually will cover any damages up to $5,000 in your property. You pay a fee to them per month. And then I have business insurance, which covers anytime any type of clients are staying in my home. And this property has steadily insurance, which I'll leave a link to that. You guys can check it out. And that's for short and midterm rental insurance. It's my favorite. This is what they deal with. This is how they do things. And if somebody's to get hurt in this property, I'm covered at 100%. So please make sure that you guys have adequate insurance for your home. So let's check this out. These are the new rules that just happened in California right now. California, you got 21 days after move out to return deposit and provide itemized list if deductions, if you deduct. So if somebody, like I already found a couple things wrong with this house. Somebody must have dropped their head into the wall in a spot over there, which I'm gonna show you guys here in a minute. There's like a little freaking round. These construction workers are probably playing freaking tag or something. This house is big and one of them probably fell and hit his head and freaking, yeah. Anyway, there's a spot that needs to be fixed. So basically you gotta take a picture before, you gotta pay for it to get fixed. You take an itemized deduction, you show that you actually got it paid for, and then you show a photo of what that looks like when it's been completed. That's new, starting January 1st, don't forget that. And now if you deduct the 4 damages or cleaning, you need photo documentation around move out and the repairs. So this has to happen after the repairs. Like I'm looking at a stain right now that's on this carpet right here. I have to get that fixed. If I have a steam cleaner company come out here and clean that, I need to show what date they came, how much this costs, and that has to be in the deposit of where I'm actually, that has to be in the itemized deductions of what's actually being taken out of the deposit and why. So incredibly important that you do that. So I'm documenting this stuff as I go. And if you guys watch this video right now, I'm walking through multiple different rooms, looking at what's going on, what's wrong in there. And there's blinds. Somebody was jerking the blinds around and freaking busted them. That pisses me off. I have so many times that this happens where like people will screw the blinds up. Those are broken. I gotta figure out how much those are gonna cost and what it's gonna cost to get somebody out here. Please stop breaking freaking blinds, people. Please. Basically, you have to go through and itemize, take photos of everything. I'm gonna walk you through exactly what I do every time I go through one of these properties and I'm looking for damages that are either new or that weren't here before. And I'm gonna take pictures of everything, so I'm gonna document this. I think the thing to think about too is like, if you're a guest staying at a property, would you think this is fair? Is this something that you believe would be a smart thing to do? Is this something you believe that, you know, somebody walking through, taking photos of before and after, does that even make sense? I think it does. I think this law is great. I think it's transparency for the guests that are staying in the house or the tenants tenants or whatever you want to call them. In this particular case, we're calling them guests. They're not tenants because they're on assignment, which they're gone now. Their assignment's done here. They took off. I just use that as my terminology. A lot of people use tenants. I don't like the word tenants because in California, that gives them tenant rights, which I'm not a big fan of tenant rights. I mean, I am a big fan of tenant rights, but I'm not a big fan of like California. Somebody can literally break into your freaking house, walk into the house, and then establish residency by doing that, which I think is freaking crazy. Or if somebody doesn't decide not to pay, they can squat and live there forever. Over the last decade of doing this, I have not had that one time because I work with companies and corporations. They are on the lease. So for me, I'm like, I could sleep well at night knowing they're gonna cover this stuff. So I love that. And if you're doing short-term or mid-term or long-term, you don't have to really worry about this on the short-term side unless you're doing a lease. On the long-term side, you are going to have to do this exact stuff that we talked about today. You know, 21 days, you got to show photos before and after. If you're mid-term renting, and I know I just talked about tenant rights and tenant things, they're technically by the state of California still called tenants. I'm doing big giant air quotes right now because that's actually, they're considered tenants, but the way that I word it, as I call them guests, mid-term rentals, even though that they are 30-day stays, you still have to take before and after photos. That same criteria still falls for midterm rentals, which are 30-day stays. You still have to do the same thing as a long-term client because technically by law, these are long-term clients. Anybody that stays in a property for 30 days, you automatically become, by the state or whatever city you're in, a tenant of that home for 30 days. So you have to treat it exactly the same way as a long-term rental, which is pretty cool in the way that if you're short-term renting and all of a sudden the city bans it, you can pivot to midterm rentals and now it's considered long-term, right? Because you're doing 30 days or more, which is how I've been able to skirt regulations and still make just as much money as short-term rentals. In fact, even more sometimes because of the way that I operate and the way I connect with companies and all that stuff. So think about that again as you guys are operating this stuff. Check this out right here. There's a freaking giant hole in the wall right here. Some freaking big head must have dropped this big old nugget right here and fell right into this spot. And yeah, I know that's a perfectly shaped head. I could see it. That's somebody's freaking dome right there. Some other things that I noticed in the house, there's a ton of scratches everywhere, and I'll show you guys this here in a minute. But if you look down here, like this is old flooring, vintage flooring, and there's definitely scratches. You see all the stains on the carpet? There's stains everywhere here on the carpet. If you can see, there's stains all over the place right here. They're literally everywhere. There is scratches on the stairs as you go up. There's all kinds of scratches, so we'll have to deduct some of those things. Let me show you some other stuff. Giant bottle of tequila they left me, which is awesome. They actually cleaned out the fridge, which is pretty nice of them. Most people don't do that at all. But again, if you guys could see, they actually left this place in really good condition. It's a lot better than I thought it was gonna be. In fact, it's pretty freaking nice. And that's the cool thing about having midterm rental guests is they take care of the place. They'll replace things, but there is some stuff that is kind of messed up in here. We'll go around checking it out. And I usually do this room by room. I'll pull out my phone, I'll take photos of all the spots that, you know, there's damages and stuff like that. So you guys are gonna come with me right now to do that. You see all these like stains right here. You gotta clean all that crap up. There's a lot of stains. I always check blinds to make sure that they're set up right. Like in this room, there's stains everywhere right here. We gotta make sure that we take care of those stains. Looks like somebody was sleeping on this couch. This thing right here, I don't know where they got this. They must have ordered it and brought it here, but here's some of the stuff that I was looking at too. There's some scratches on the walls. I don't know what these people did when they were sleeping. Like, look at this, these scratches right here. How does that even happen? Oh, and they screwed up the blinds. This is something that pisses me off earlier. I talked about this. The blinds are all jacked up. I got to get new blinds fixed. These got to be put up. They were specifically curated for this house. And yeah, now the blinds are all jacked up. So super irritating when people do that kind of stuff. But this is like a family kind of hangout room that the folks were staying here. They decided to put a bed here and they use the couch as a bed too. Here's another room. Everything looks pretty good here. There doesn't seem to be like that much crap and trash and stuff in this place, but which is nice. So there's that, but trundle bed. Everything looks good here. You know what's crazy about this? They actually like folded these and like left these. These are super nice construction workers. Most construction workers I know just like throw shit around everywhere. They do not care about doing specific things. But I'll show you some of the damage that's in this room. It's nothing crazy. I don't even understand how it happened, but it's like scuffs on the wall. Let me show you guys what this actually looks like, so it makes sense to you. Let's look at it. Like, what is this right here? How does that even happen? I don't understand. They're all along the wall right here. So I feel like they like moved something here, or they had it here and it scratched this up. Right there in that corner too, right there. There's like holes. There's some massive scratches on the floors. And just so you guys know, these are like super vintage, like 1930s floors, the original flooring. So it's kind of upsetting to see this, but this is nature of the beast, right? You're gonna have, I have no clue what that is. This is the closet in here right now. And I mean, there seems like there's some They didn't really clean up that much in here. They left all their, all these guys, what are those called? Hangers. Yeah, I'm gonna keep them. You know, I got a hanger collection. Anyhow, they did leave this place pretty clean, which is pretty cool. This room looks good. Again, we're assessing damages. And every time I see a damage like this, I take a photo of everything. Again, you gotta document everything. So I'm literally pulling out my phone right now and I'm taking photos of stuff. Here's another thing that I noticed. Let's check this out. See that? Broken. Where's that paint? Yep, it's broken. So somebody busted the that thing down there, that thingy, whatever it's called. Another thing, like, how does this even happen? Like, somebody just like, screw this, dude. And then like, I could see it. Actually, it's probably this. They did this. I think I just made it worse. But anyway, bathroom, let's check this out. You see there's like, nobody's really did a deep clean in here for a while. This is super dirty. They left the freaking, my kids do this crap, like brush their teeth. They're just like, ah, and they throw freaking, they're literally brushing and they're just throwing it on the window. That's exactly what they did here. Toilet, they left a little turd stain there for us, which is great. Thank you for that. Window seals, see how dirty they are? Like nobody's cleaned this up in a long time. This little frog's having a really good time, as you could tell. But yeah, just small things like that. Mirrors, which is no big deal, whatever. Shower, that's in good condition. They did leave me some St. Eve's here. We can take that home. Some hair wash, I'm taking that. I'm gonna take that loofah too, it might as well. I'm just joking, that's creepy. I'm not keeping that. Looks like we repaired damage there. Yeah, I don't really see anything that's that bad, this place. Again, I always go through all the drawers to make sure that there's like, everything's in working condition, that there's nothing broken or missing or anything like that. But yeah, there definitely needs to be a deep clean. I can see back there, it looks like a bunch of shit stains and particles that somebody must have left. Really gross. Some more chips here on the door. I don't know how the hell that happened. Like they're moving stuff around. But another bedroom. It smells like a dude in here. But here's the thing that really bothers a dude. Look at these floors. Like, how does this even happen? Like, this is freaking crazy. They must have moved this, the office space. There's just some like trash here, nothing crazy. We got to get the cleaners in. They did leave this guy out, which is no big deal. I got to clean up all the mail, toss it, but yeah, they left it in pretty decent shape. Here's one thing that's freaking crazy. Oh God, I just dropped one. You guys, they have a dill pickle setup. Polish pickles, just full of cigarettes. I mean, I guess they smoked outside, so that's cool, right? But anyway, I think you would pick that up before you would do this, right? I don't know, man. Exactly what the new rules are. So for those of you who aren't familiar, California just passed the law starting January 1st, 2026. And I'm gonna go through those. You can't keep a deposit just because you're annoyed. Like, landlords used to do that, you guys. The entire security deposit is not a punishment. It's used as leverage. So you can only use deposits for unpaid rent, cleaning beyond normal wear and tear, repairs for damage beyond normal wear and tear. We just talked about that. It's like the floors that are scratched and stuff like that. Replacement of missing items. This is for furnished units. You can actually charge for replacing missing items in a furnished unit. So that's really good. So basically in California, a deposit isn't a penalty. You can't charge for normal wear and tear. Like that's just part of the, so like scuffs on the walls, like all those things I've been talking about earlier, I can't freaking charge for that. Carpet, compression furniture, light nail holes. We did see that dude's head that went through the wall. That's different. Faded paint or from sunlight, I can't charge from that either. What is not normal wear and tear? Broken fixtures, burn marks, missing furniture, deep stains, and pet. You guys saw a lot of the deep stains that are in this property. Super important that you document that, take photos before and after, and make sure that you get itemized receipts for everything. If you deduct anything, you must provide an itemized statement, a description of each deduction, the cost of each item. You have to show that. So if you deduct even $1, I have to explain exactly why and how I got that number. That's important right there. And you have 21 calendar days to pay somebody back for you pay the tenant back for their deposit. So you have to make sure that you do that. And once they're out, the clock starts. So the second they get out, your 21-day calendar starts like right then. You missed that and you're asking for some problems. So please make sure to stay on that 21 days, which is 3 weeks. Come on, you guys. This is the big thing. You can't deduct anymore without documentation. So if you deduct for cleaning, repairs, or damages, you should have photos before and after move out, photos after repairs and cleaning, all that kind of stuff. So California now expects deductions and documentation before photos, after photos. This isn't about being strict. This is about being super clear. I actually really agree to that. I think that's a good thing. So please, that's actually why I'm actually filming this walkthrough right now, so I can document this. So people have a copy of it. I'll send it to them. Oh, this is another thing. You can't charge for upgrades anymore. So better paint than before, newer fixtures than ever existed. You can't actually charge more for that. Returning the unit to its original condition, you can't charge for upgrades. So like if somebody upgrades the house, does that make sense? I hope it does. I think it just means the owner can't charge more based off of things that they're doing in the house. You can't hold the deposit while figuring it out. We just talked about that. You got 21 days to do it. This is like really important. You guys, I need you to do this. You can't ignore inventory on furnished units anymore. Missing items are deductible. Silverware, all that crap is deductible. Damaged furniture is deductible. Inventory should exist, even informal. Like I would expect you guys to make a list of every single thing that you bought for your property, and every time somebody comes in, you check mark that. In fact, I have a list of all the essentials that I have in a home. I'm gonna link that somewhere. You guys go get it. You gotta make sure that you document the heck out of everything. You can't treat corporate stays like a free pass. This answers your big question. If a company paid, a recruiter booked it, an employer signed his agreement, if a person lived there for 30 days in a residential unit, then you can treat this as a residential tenancy for deposit purposes. So they gotta stay at the property for 30 days, which I've said before. So even though it was a corporate stay, it's still a residential unit. It doesn't change the rules just because the company paid. So remember that, you guys. You shouldn't take massive deposits. I've seen some people, if I charge 10K for this house, I'm not gonna charge 10,000 for a freaking deposit. You know what I mean? So you can't have large deposits anymore. Lower deposits, reduce friction, all that other good stuff. Yeah, so I'm gonna walk through this house. You guys already saw me walk through it. I'm gonna deduct the things that I think that there's stains on a lot of stuff. The furniture's got a couple scuffs and things and stuff we have to fix up. I haven't tested the beds, make sure nothing's broken or anything like that. But these construction workers actually left this house in a pretty good condition. These new rules still apply to midterm rentals that are in the California space